award goes to Mike Riccio. Mike, can you come up? Mike graduated with an MBA in Real Estate and Finance from UConn. He has over 30 years of real estate experience, 23 years at Cigna, holding several different real estate positions, and the last 10 years as Senior Managing Director and co-head of national production for CBRE Capital Markets Debt and Structured Finance. Congratulations, Mike. Mike is also a published author and a frequent speaker at industry events. That's lucky for us, because I'd also like to ask Mike now to make a few comments and give us a presentation that he's had prepared for us. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, Catherine. That was really such a nice introduction. I only wish my mother was here. You know, I love my mother, but she has no idea what I do, or she just can't remember anymore. When I called her to tell her that I was getting this really wonderful award from UConn, she said, "Oh, Michael, it must be a mistake. There must be some mistake." I said, "Well, thanks a lot, Mike." And she said, "Oh no, but Michael, you didn't go to UConn. You went to Southern Connecticut." And I said, "Yes, I did. And then I went to UConn for my MBA," but she forgot that part. So, anyway, I want to recognize our beloved Huskies. I was in Tucson in the Final Four, and it was fabulous. I was proudly wearing my UConn cap. So I want to give a round of applause for them. So, thanks for coming to my party. I'm really glad that you all came. Seriously, I'm really honored and humbled to be here with you tonight and be recognized for this wonderful distinction. And being awarded at the same time as my good friend and real estate legend, Dan Farina, is a true honor for me. So this award was totally unexpected, and so I'm thrilled to be here. So I'd like to thank all the folks in the real estate program, in the Real Estate Center. And in particular, I would like to recognize Professor Clapp and Professor Glasscock, and of course Debbie Phillips, who makes this all happen. Thank you. There's a couple other people I need to recognize tonight, without whose support I wouldn't be here. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my beautiful, supportive, and loving wife, Dawn, who's my best friend and my rock. I also have several family members that are with me, supporting me tonight. I'd like to recognize my son, Brian, his girlfriend, Missy, and my daughter, Michelle, took the hard drive from Boston. I have another daughter, Amy, who lives in Atlanta, and she couldn't be with us tonight. So I called her and told her she's out of the will, and officially out of the will, and the Riccio family estate is going to go to charity. Also at the table with me tonight is my brother Edward and his wife Cindy, and my brother Ken. So, thanks for coming, guys. But you know what? You're still not in the will. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize two more people, and they're really very important people in my life. Many of you know Susan Larkin and Anna Fowle, who work with me every day and help to make me look good, and you can tell that's not an easy chore. But they're the best in the business, and I couldn't do what I do without their really incredible assistance and support. So thank you, Anna. Thank you, Susan. I love what you do, and let's keep doing it. So that's the reason why Professor Glasscock asked me to address you tonight. So I guess for me, I've had a reasonably good real estate career. I actually have learned a few things over the years. So I'm going to try to share a few things that I've learned that may be helpful to the students, especially those who are graduating in few short weeks. So I was trying to organize my thoughts, and I wanted to make it simple and concise. I wanted to make it so maybe you'd actually remember something from what I say tonight. I know that when I'm listening to a speaker, if I can take one or two things, that's really great, and that's if I'm really trying hard to listen. But I promise the students tonight, if they listen, they're going to remember at least part of what I say. 2 months ago, I was attending a CBRE conference in Scottsdale. We scheduled this very special speaker the night before the conference was to start. And we invited just a select group of our top clients to attend this special event. But due to security reasons, we couldn't tell them who was going to be speaking. And that really piqued their interest, and none of them said no. They all showed up, and they knew it was going to be special. They were told they had to be in the room at 5:45 p.m., and at 6 o'clock p.m. the doors would shut, and they couldn't get in after that. The speaker was Navy SEAL Team 6, Mark Owen, which is not his real name, by the way. But Mark was the leader of the Navy SEAL Team 6 that was in the room when Osama bin Laden was shot. He was also on the Navy SEAL Team 6 that rescued Captain Phillips. This is one badass Navy SEAL, I got to tell you. He also wrote the book No Easy Day, which was the first-hand account of the mission that killed Osama bin Laden. When he arrived in the room, he looked around and saw all these real estate professionals with their phones out on the table. And he said, everybody turn your phone off and put it away. And everybody did. Because he's a wanted man. And he doesn't want anybody to take pictures of him. He said that, in fact, if he sees a cell phone during the presentation, that person, he might visit that person's room later that night, and they would have a bad night. So needless to say, he had everybody's full attention. He was a Navy SEAL for 14 years, and for 300 days a year, he was out on killing missions. Navy SEAL Team 6 is the most elite of all the Navy SEAL teams, and only 10% of Navy SEALs actually qualified to be Team 6. So it was riveting. He told us the whole story about the Osama bin Laden mission. He talked about the planning, the training, and how the actual events took place. One of the interesting things he told us was that the night of the mission, they had the SEALs gathered that were going to do the mission. They winnowed that down to 124 Navy SEALs. And they were told that 70% of them were expected to die in that mission. 70%. And not one of them blinked. They all wanted in. So he went through all the details of the mission. And he showed us slides and pictures. He was actually on the chopper. He was the lead of the lead helicopter. He was on the chopper that crashed in the courtyard. And before he crashed, he was in an open window of the helicopter, and he thought he was going to die. So we thought, okay, I'm part of that 70%. But at that moment, the chopper stopped. He was able to jump down, and they went to Plan B. You never saw 100 real estate professionals so riveted and actually paying attention. So we were transfixed. It was incredible. And no one thought to check their phones. You can trust me on that. Mark said that everyone thinks that Navy SEAL team missions that they're very complicated, and that Navy SEALs are unusually bright. It's not true, he said. Actually, it's kind of the opposite. He said they do lots of things well, but they do 3 things really well. 3 things they focus on. They move, they communicate, and they shoot. So the 3 things that Navy SEALs do really well: they move, communicate, and shoot. And they try to keep it simple. They have a plan, and then they have a backup plan. And they're both simple. They're not complicated. So why am I telling you this story? Well, actually, it's kind of cool. That's the real reason. It's a really cool story. And I thought it'd be interesting. But I'm really telling you this story because real estate's not that complicated. We're not curing cancer here. We're not rocket scientists. But the Navy SEALs can move, communicate, and shoot. Just those 3 things. So the story made me think, what are the 3 things that make a real estate professional successful? You would think, doing this for 33 years, I might know that. But I couldn't come up with it right away. So I tried to think of the things that have helped me be successful in my career. I can tell you it's not as cool as move, communicate, and shoot. But then it came to me. Are you ready? So the 3 things are improve, communicate, and go for it. So now you're all thinking, Riccio's fallen off his rocker again, hit his head again. And let me break it down for you what I mean by that. Let me tell you what I mean by improve. Improve means lots of things, actually, and all the students here have gotten a really good start on that, because a big part of improve is education. And this part really never ends. It's a continuing process. There are always ways to improve, and education can mean a formal MBA, or it could just mean remaining intellectually curious. Sometimes improve can just mean hard work. Go to work every day and grind it out. I know that story. Dan knows that story. You've got to grind it out sometimes. Let me tell you a little story about how improve really helped me in my career. In this case, it was getting my UConn MBA. I received my bachelor's in mathematics from Southern Connecticut. My mother was right. But my first job at Cigna was in the investment group, but not in the real estate group. So I went to school at nights at UConn for 3.5 years. When I was just about to finish my MBA, I saw an opening in the real estate department. It was a coveted opening, and I saw it, and I wanted to do it. So I called the HR person, and she told me she could meet me in about a month. She couldn't care less. So I hung up the phone, and I was really disappointed. And I called her back, and I said, did I mention that I'm getting my real estate and finance degree from UConn, my MBA? And she said, why didn't you say that on the first call? Funny thing is, she had time the very next day. I met her, and I got the job. And the rest is history for me in the real estate. So, but in that one instant, those 3.5 years, and grinding it out, and improving myself, made all the difference in my career path. So I got this new job in the real estate investment department, and I thought I was the coolest kid. They actually own buildings all over the U.S., and I could go see them. On my first business trip, I went to Dallas to inspect a small bank building that we owned. I had the address, I had the name of the bank, I had my plane ticket. So I flew to Dallas, I rented a car, I drove over to my building, and started to walk around the bank lobby like I owned the place, which I did. So after a few minutes, this very manager-looking person came over to me and asked me what I was doing. And I proudly looked at him, and I stood up as tall as I can. And I told him I was just checking on my building. I'm the owner. Well, it turns out he was actually the owner. And I was in the wrong building. They quickly escorted me out with a large man right behind me, and so began my great real estate career. So let's talk about the second skill, the same one as the Navy SEALs. It's communicate. Communication may actually be the most important skill that separates the good from the great in real estate. Communication involves the ability to establish relationships. And if you remember only one thing that I say tonight, I'm saying this to the students, this is what I want you to remember. The real estate business is a people business. It's all about relationships. You can do numbers till you die, but if you don't have clients and you don't have relationships, you will not be a good real estate person. And trust me, those business relationships develop over time. It doesn't happen overnight. I know that some of you seniors here want my job. You can't have it. And you can't have it because it literally took me decades to develop those relationships. And you have to be patient. And those relationships that I have today are a result of those long years of communication and relationship building. Another important part, which is becoming increasingly more important, involves the ability to work in teams with other human beings and get along well with them. I can tell you that collaboration and teamwork are the future in our business. The people who do this best will be the most successful. And those who do not or don't do it well will be left behind. 10 or 15 years ago, and there's some brokers in here, and you can attest to this, 10 or 15 years ago, most real estate brokers were single operators. They won and they lost business by themselves. Today, our best brokers, our most successful brokers, are parts of large teams that bring the whole resources of the company to bear on any particular assignment. I hope that UConn continues to give students projects that require teams to complete, because that type of education and training is the reality today. So good job, UConn. Keep those projects going. I have a guy in the gym that I go to in the morning, always tells me that I have these gifted communication skills. He says to me, "You're short, you're bald, but you make up for it with this amazing gift of communication, and everybody loves you. They don't even see that you're short and bald." So I think that tells you even a crazy gym rat can recognize this kind of skill. As I think about it, it's probably the most critical skills that have helped me have the career that I've had. So, to you students, communicate, do all the things that go along with that because it'll make a huge difference. So we covered improve and communicate. Let's talk about go for it. It won't be too much longer. When I say go for it, I mean take some risks. There will be times in your career when you'll have opportunities, some bigger, some not so big. All these involve change, and with change always comes a little bit of risk. You've all heard the expression that change is good, which can also mean to me risk is good. What I'm saying is take those risks, take those career risks when the opportunities arise. Taking a risk will invigorate you, it'll challenge you, it'll help you grow to be a better business person and a better person overall. And when you achieve something by taking that risk, you'll feel pretty good about yourself. I took many risks in my career, some bigger than others, but the biggest risk I ever took was to leave that 23-year career at Cigna, where I worked in the real estate investment department. I was doing well there. I was very comfortable, but I was encouraged to try something new, go over to the dark side of brokerage. And I joined CBRE and became a commercial mortgage banker. At the time, it was a huge risk. I was 45 years old, the first of my 3 children entering college, and I was leaving a salary and bonus job to go to a 100% commission job. As it turns out, it was the best career move I ever made. On my first day at CBRE, I showed up in the offices at 8 o'clock a.m. My friend Dave Noley, who's here tonight, and he left Cigna with me to start up this business. We had no clients, we had no business, we didn't know what to do. We had some thoughts. So I looked at David at 8:01 and I said, "When do we have lunch?" So 10 years later, here we are, using those skills that I mentioned, improve, communicate, and go for it. We built a very successful and really fun business. We went from 0 business in 2004 to our best year last year. We closed over $1 billion of loans out of the Hartford office. We did 40 separate transactions. We were actually one of the highest producing offices in the United States in my business. So it's been a fun ride for sure, but we aren't finished yet. In fact, Susan and Anna have made me promise I've got to work 10 more years. We'll see. I know this for sure. All the real estate students in this room tonight know 100% more about real estate than I did when I graduated. So I think you have a great future ahead of you, and I wish you luck. Congratulations to the award winners tonight, and a special congratulations to the parents of all the graduating seniors, and to the seniors as well. If real estate is your passion, you have a great opportunity to have a fun and rewarding career. Thank you again for this wonderful honor. Enjoy the rest of the evening.